All right, y'all. Welcome to the Lawrence Souffrant podcast. I am Lawrence Souffrant. Listen, I got a lot on my mind. I don't even know how this really gonna go, but I just want to say this: it's really hard being the voice of the people. It's hard standing up for Black people specifically, especially in a world or in a nation, I should say, where we demonize Black thought. When I say we demonize Black thought, I'm talking about white conservative Christianity demonizing Black ideas, Black thoughts. It's so interesting to me the way that color doesn't matter until it's unapologetically Black. Then all of a sudden, we're elevating Blackness, but when they elevate whiteness, they don't say it so blatantly. And maybe that's why the trap works, because they're not saying, hey, this is white culture, or hey, this is what white people are comfortable with, because they're not saying it so blatantly. They like to say things like, this is God-like, or this is Christ-like, and it's like, who determined that? Like, who is the authority to speak for God in that way? Like, what makes you think that what is authentically Black thought is not God-like, right? Like, I've been asking for this definition, the metrics that conservatives use for holiness, and it's not the Bible. I'll tell you that right now. It's not the Bible, because if it was the Bible, then they wouldn't have committed genocide with the Native Americans or natives around the globe, period. Like, if it was the Bible, they wouldn't be trying to brainwash free individuals. Like, they went and kidnapped our people. Some of our people were sold. For those of you who want to talk about how Black leaders, African leaders sold us and this, that, and the third, you don't even know the full context to that, but I will address that for your sake. Yes, there is some truth there. But we're not going to sit here and act like they didn't kidnap our people in the name of profit, that they didn't whip them and rape them. Like, rape is okay as a Christian. The Bible supports rape. You know what I mean? Like, where does the Bible even support minimizing people's humanity? Like, just show me. I'm not saying it's not there. I'm asking you to show me where it says it's okay to say that any group of people are 3/5 of a human being. Just show me. I just want to know, because this idea that the Christian views that come from white Western churches is somehow holier than the spiritual ideas that came from indigenous African people is absurd. Like, if you were to really, like, I'm talking like parallel, put African spiritual ideas against some of the Old Testament spiritual ideas, they're very similar. They're very similar. Even the concept of a Christ, a Messiah, a God-man figure, right? That's not just in Christianity. This existed in other spiritual systems. And the problem is, so many Black Christians find themselves in this echo chamber, right? Where they only go in spaces and rooms that rehearse what they've already accepted as truth. Now, is that by itself bad? No, but this is the problem with that. You don't know what you're ignorant about. And you speak so boldly about things you don't know. You don't know what you're talking about. The only time we want to ever bring up any type of evidence is to support whatever your viewpoints is. So when somebody like myself is bringing up facts, you want to challenge me about the facts that I'm bringing with your distorted opinions. And the conversation is already lopsided. Because when I combat your opinion, now I'm the aggressor, or somehow, I don't know, I became the bad guy, right? Like, look, I'm the right one and the wrong one. You feel me? Like, I don't run from the smoke. You know what I mean? I inhale that joint. You know what I mean? Blow it out, make O's with it. You feel me? Like, I'm not afraid of the smoke, but what I would prefer is that we have a productive dialogue. Like, that's what I prefer. But don't ever think I'm ducking the smoke. Listen, man, and I don't even want to, like, toot my own horn, because y'all be trying to be humble, right? But I'm qualified to talk about everything I talk about. I'm qualified. You know what I mean? Like, I am in a position where I know what it's like to be in the trenches, and I know what it's like to get to the other side and prosper, right? I know what it's like. I'm in a long, committed, loving, happy marriage. I've been in there for 17 years at the time of this recording, almost 18, right? I got 5 kids. I know what it means to be a father. Like, I'm qualified to talk about this. I've worked 3, 4 jobs to make ends meet, and I know what it means to be a CEO running your own business. Like, I have done it. And this is not to toot my own horn. This is just to say I have context. I'm not just speaking off of how I feel. I've been through some things. I've read some things. And I don't mind a different opinion. Like, that's not the problem. But come to me with different opinions when we're having conversations about opinions. Charlie Kirk being a racist, it's not an opinion. He has empowered white supremacy ideas to thrive because ignorant people like these black Christians listen to him and believe that he's speaking facts. And saying that he's a racist doesn't mean I'm condemning him to hell. I don't have a heaven or hell to put him in. I'm not saying that God is not pleased. I'm not here to speak for God in that way. But what I can do is show you how the rhetoric he speaks about goes against what Christ talked about. I can do that. I don't know who he is as a father. I don't know who he is as a husband. I don't know the guy, right? So I can't speak about his character. I can't speak about his personhood. What I can speak about is his rhetoric. And I'm telling you, his rhetoric supports racism. So if he's not a racist, then why would he choose rhetoric that is racist? And you're going to ignore that because he's a Christian? But I'm a Christian, right? So why is it okay to combat the black man that's a Christian, but defend the white racist man that's a Christian, right? Just explain that to me. And I say I'm a Christian meaning that I follow Christ, right? We can have this debate about what it means to be a Christian. That's not what this video is about. This video is about the consistent need for black Christians to play the house Negro. You guys know about the house Negro, field Negro, house Negro story? For those of you who might not know, let me just give a quick synopsis, right? 2 groups of slaves or enslaved people. You had the field Negro, who was outside in the field busting his butt, you know what I mean, or her, because the women were out there too, picking cotton, corn, whatever it was, doing the master's bidding. Lived in like a shack somewhere, you know what I mean? It wasn't really suitable for anybody to live in, packed in that small little space. Then you had the house Negro, who lived in the big house with master, started to think that that was his house. That was her house. You know what I mean? Fed the master's food, washed his clothes, you know. Probably did a little something with master or master's wife on the side. Started to believe that they were accepted by master because they didn't have to do the hard work. See, what the white man used to do, he used to put this house Negro on horses, right? He used to give the house Negro a whip so he could beat other black people, right? That black man didn't believe racism was real. What? Look how the white man treating me. I'm in his house. I'm eating his food. I'm bathing in his bath, taking his showers. I get hot water. What racism is the white man racist? Why he treating me so good? And it never seemed to dawn on the house Negro that he's treating you good to empower himself to treat them bad. Because, yeah, logic might say, well, yeah, I'm getting this type of treatment because I'm not as bad as those field Negroes. These field Negroes, they keep trying to rebel. They keep trying to free themselves. Why don't they just cooperate with the system? Right? Why don't they just work with the status quo? It ain't that bad. You getting food. You got shelter. It ain't that bad, right? That's the house Negro's mentality. Saving master instead of being delivered from master. And it's crazy because the house Negro is so close to master that when it was time for the revolution, they would be the perfect ones to pop it off. They right there. And don't get me wrong. Listen, I want to talk about the big mamas in history. They used to poison the food. You know what I mean? Like, so I don't want to make it sound like everybody in the house was automatically a house Negro. I'm talking about those that were in the house starting to believe that because they're in the house, they're somehow accepted by whitey. You're not accepted. You're a pawn. You're the necessary tool to create reasonable doubt amongst racist ideologies. And there's so many white people who think they're good people because they don't realize how racist their system is. And because they're white, they never get the treatment of being a black person. Y'all some Uncle Ruckuses, right? Really thinking that you're supposed to be white. You don't say that out loud. But the way you honor and elevate white ideas, you want to live in their neighborhoods. I'm tired of good neighborhoods being white neighborhoods. Because the only example of black neighborhoods you have are the poor, right? The poor black people. You never want to talk about the thriving black neighborhoods where their lawns are cut and trimmed and they don't got cars parked on the lawns and they don't have high crime rates. You don't ever want to talk about those neighborhoods, right? You only want to talk about where the poor people are. So if we're going to compare poor to poor black people don't live any worse than poor white folks. What you think is happening at the trailer parks? The amount of crystal meth that they getting high on. And they out here committing crimes with each other, robbing, stealing, killing each other. It's happening because that's a product of poverty. But y'all think that's a black issue because you're whitewashed. You have adopted white ideologies, and I'm just trying to help you. But hey, you could bring them to the water, you can't force them to drink. I'm not here to even change your mind for real. My message are for those who kind of see that something is off, but they can't quite put their finger on it. I'm trying to guide that person. Because if you're conscious in any way, if you are just aware of any of the social issues, you can clearly see that there is a lack of respect for black expression. It's clear as day. I've been to these white churches. You know my problem with these so-called multicultural churches? Multicultural means no gospel. Can't play gospel music because then it's black, right? But we could get all the guitars, right? We could even put like some rock to it, some pop to it, but no gospel though, because then it's not multicultural anymore. It's nothing but CCM, right? It's wild to me. I've seen people talk about how black women like to holler when they sing. So disrespectful. You can't even hear the soul and the spirit behind the expression. And it's not to say that CCM is any less holy. I've never said that. I've never said CCM is any less holy. I never said it has to be gospel for it to be spiritual. I never said that. I never even demonized white culture and said that it shouldn't exist. Well, so-called white culture, because, that's another conversation, right? I never said any of those things. All I'm saying is that black expression is equally valid. And we don't need the validation of white people to say that it's valid, to say that it's holy, to say that it's sacred. I want my people to know we don't need the validation and affirmation of non-black people to take ownership of what is truly ours. We should be unapologetically ourselves. That is my message. And my post about black Christians supporting Charlie Kirk, it was an observation because there were so many people surprised. I was seeing it all on my timeline like, I can't believe this many black people, this many black Christians are supporting this guy. I can't believe. And for me, someone who's been doing this for a while, I'm like, you shouldn't really be surprised. This is normal. Black Christians have always been used to push the white ideologies across the globe. Like Trump even had black faces in his campaign to somehow make it seem like he cares about black people. It's smoke and mirrors. Black people have been pawns by white supremacy. And here's the thing, you don't even have to be. You don't have to be a pawn. You're choosing to be one because you refuse to engage in intellectual dialogue. You want to get emotional and offended. And you think I'm talking about you. I didn't know that was your ideology till you said something. How would I ever know? Did I call anybody out by name? I didn't even call Charlie Kirk out by name. I didn't mention a name at all. But you were able to identify yourself because I described you so well. How do you think I know you so well? Do you think I just woke up one day and just decided to just post? I've been observing the issues in our community for a long time. And I realize who the traitors are. I realize who the secret agents are. You're the one who think you have to redeem black folks and bring them to Christ. But they already in your church. They already with Christ. So it ain't about bringing them to Christ. It's about bringing them out of black culture. It's about bringing them out of black expression. It's about pulling them away from themselves. A black man ain't a slave man until he acts white. He got to put on a suit because God forbid he wear anything else but that. Right? Like, come on. I think at the end of the day, first of all, let me say this. I don't apologize for anything I said. I'm not sorry for nothing. I don't apologize for anything. Because everything I said is the truth. And maybe we should put what I said on video so y'all could read it for yourself, make a judgment call if you don't follow me on Facebook. Everything I said was the truth. And I still believe that our job is to identify who our people really are that goes beyond the color of their skin. Because there are black people who don't trust black people because white people said they're unsafe. And that's a problem. It is white people who lynched you in the streets, not black people. It was white people who raped our women and our children, not black people. And it was a white man who killed that other white man. Wasn't a black person. But somehow, we are still the problem, even when we're not involved. Isn't that crazy? Can y'all not see the self-hate? Can you not see the bigger issue here? Don't you think it's a problem that a black person who has a common enemy, that's the only reason why I'm bringing this up, because when that cop pull you over, and yes, maybe most of your stops are good. Most of my stops with police are good. Do you not know it only takes one bad cop for you to not make it home? It only takes one bad cop for you to not make it to work. And the problem, if we're really going to talk about the problem outside of the fact that they're bad cops, is that bad cop won't even be persecuted for the crime of killing you. This is what we're fighting against. Here in Huntsville, Alabama, there was a guy, I forget how long ago, there was a guy who was literally pointing guns at police, and they were able to apprehend them alive and brought him to jail. While black men just accused of having a gun were gunned down. This is the problem. And if you want to turn a blind eye or a deaf ear to it, then of course I'm going to offend you. Don't follow me. Don't watch my stuff because I'm unapologetic about this. I don't play this both sides. I see both sides. When it comes to injustice versus justice, there's only one side. When it comes to righteousness versus unrighteousness, there's only one side. And if you followed me long enough, you know I don't bite my tongue about the issues within our community. I talk about the things that we need to change within our community. But let me be clear. It's our problem to solve. We don't need outside help. White folks need to mind their business and let us do what we can do for ourselves. We've been doing for ourselves for a long time. The only reason why we're not even further because of the interference of white people and black people with white ideologies. You want to know what a white ideology is? I will infiltrate black organizations so I can be rich. That's black ideologies. How do you think the Black Panthers fell? Because they were doing crimes? You believe that? You believe that? Nah. They were infiltrated. How do you think Malcolm X got killed? Shabazz, excuse me. You think white folks ain't play a hand in that? You don't know the story? Sellouts. And a lot of you sell out every day. You perm your hair to go to work to get that job because you're a sellout. You don't want to wear your natural hair. You want to look like them. You want to make them feel comfortable so you can get your job and make your money. Yeah, you're a sellout. You don't have to be, but you are. And I'm not saying because you work for a white company or work at a white institution, you're automatically a sellout. I know my good brother, yo. Shout out to my boy Sydney, right? Got the locks in his hair, killing it, unapologetically black. If you're going to go in that space, that's how you go in that space, being authentically yourself. But the moment you feel like you got to soften your blackness to make them comfortable for $1, you already sold out. And you'll never understand what I'm talking about. Because you still don't believe we could build it on our own, though we've been doing it for over hundreds of years. It doesn't get circulated at the same frequency as our drama and our BS. Why do you think that is? Why do you think the algorithms suppress black excellence but abundantly post and share black foolishness? Why you think black people have something to do with that? Are you really gonna like look me in my eye and tell me that white folks don't be wilding out? Listen, I'm from New Jersey. I went to high school with white folks. I know what a mosh pit is. Okay? Ain't nothing. I don't even know the black equivalents to a mosh pit. Like, we don't do that. What are you talking about? I see them breaking glasses over each other's head. They go crazy. But it don't get as much publicity. You think that's by accident? And no offense to my white brothers who like mosh pits. I'm not here to demonize you. I'm sorry you caught a stray. You caught a stray bullet. You did. You caught a stray bullet. So, yeah, for that I apologize. But my sentiment, I don't apologize for. At the end of the day, I'm unapologetically black. And what do I mean by unapologetically black? I mean the culture that my people develop, the cultures, multiple cultures that my people develop, from New York to Atlanta to Chicago to LA to Houston to Ghana to Kenya to Zimbabwe, South Africa to the Caribbean. I'm Haitian, right? To the Jamaicans, to the Trinidad. Like, everywhere we go, we develop something. And my only call has been that we stay in control of it. That's been my only call. I'm not saying we haven't developed anything. I'm saying we have to control it. It's up to us to use these things that we've built to advance ourselves so we can have schools like HBCUs. But we need high schools like that. We need middle schools like that. We need elementary. We need to start young where we can teach our kids to love themselves, to acknowledge their contribution to America's history. We talk about all the things that black people invented, the stoplight, the refrigerator even. Like, there's so many things that black people contributed to, right? That is almost like hidden history. But we know about George Washington. And we should. But why is our contributions taboo to discuss as mainstream education? But even if it's not mainstream, what are we doing as a collective to ensure that our children know the names of Marcus Garvey? What's his name? Carter Woodson, Huey Newton, W.B. Du Bois. I could go on and on, like, about the names of those who truly were about something, those who made a difference, right? Like, we should be establishing something. And, there's things already established. Kwanzaa is one of those things. I celebrate Kwanzaa with my kids all the time just so that I can, when we get to the part about libation, that's my chance to talk about some of the black people globally that have made a difference so my kids can know their names. My kids celebrate Haitian Independence Day. My kids celebrate Haitian Flag Day. They celebrate Ghana's Flag Day. Like, there are things that I'm doing in my household. So I'm not just talking as if I'm waiting on you guys. I'm talking as someone who wants all of us to get on the same page where we can do something collectively within whatever city that we're in. We can educate our kids. We can reward them for remembering black history. And not just black history, but black history as it pertains to American history. Like, did you not know that there wouldn't be a Louisiana if it wasn't for the Haitian Revolution? Like, why are we not talking about these are significant things? Significant. We want to talk about the Boston Tea Party, but not about the Haitian Revolution that forced the French to sell what they own to the U.S. because they couldn't keep up with the Haitians. We was going crazy on them, you feel me? This should be common amongst black people, amongst black houses. You don't got to be Haitian to respect the contribution. Because we all going to be black, then let's talk about what it means for all of us to be black. And let's stop looking for white validation. It's unnecessary. It doesn't move us forward. Yes, there are some things we got to work on. We could critique our own community. I'm okay with that. But I don't want to hear no critiques if you're not involved in the construction. If you ain't doing nothing to build it, keep your mouth shut. Just stay in your house. Do whatever you've been doing. Don't work against us. We out here doing the work. So don't work against us. That's all. Just mind your business. It's cool. You don't got to be a part. And what's crazy is when the revolution is fully successful, and listen to my language, when, I'm not saying if, it's going to happen. Lauryn Hill said it's only so long Satan can hold God's people back, right? The chains of Satan can only last so long, right? I forget how the bar goes, right? When the revolution happens, it's going to benefit y'all house Negroes too. So you in a win-win position. Go ahead, sell your soul until we win. And you're gonna find a way to, you know what I mean? You probably just then it's gonna be cool to be black, right? All of a sudden now it's gonna be black power, right? All of a sudden. You know why they're so afraid of our liberation? Because they think we're as wicked as them. They think we're gonna do to them what they did to us. But we don't have that in our nature. Black people ain't as wicked as the media wants you to think. Even with the so-called black on black crime, which is a myth, it's just crime. Crime happens in proximity to whoever you're with. White people kill white people at the same rate. Black people kill black people, right? I think I said that before. Ain't no such thing as black on black crime. But even then, if you understood the context, 9 out of 10 times, it was survival from their context. See, if you've never been in the trenches, you don't understand the mindset of that environment. You have no idea what it's like to go for job after job after job and get a no over and over and over again. You don't know what it's like to try to go to school and not have the money for it. See, some of you are so privileged that you have no idea the effort that our people are doing to not be in those environments. The only people who like the hood are people who aren't from the hood. Everybody in the hood trying to get out. Everybody in the hood is saying, yo, I don't want to live like this, dog. Yo, this ain't no way to live. Everybody who actually lived that life don't want to live that life. The only ones who actually want to live like that are those who never lived. It's like you think there's some type of glory in that. No, it sucks. It's a terrible living environment. And our people are doing everything that they can. And when they reach opposition after opposition after opposition, they're going to do what they have to do by any means necessary. But they wouldn't have to do those things if we were organized and able to create our own jobs to hire them, right? If we were organized and we're able to create our own programs to give them some relief when ends don't meet and they're doing everything legally and righteously, but they still can't afford the diapers or they still can't afford the meal or they're $300 short on the rent. They shouldn't have to do any type of illegal activity because we've established our own systems. And of course, we're never going to get 100% righteousness. Man, why do black people have to be perfect in order to be deserving? Why can't we still be deserving with our flaws like any other demographic? You understand what I'm saying? So, listen, if you were offended by what I said, honestly, I don't care. This is probably the last time I'm even going to speak on this for real. Because your boy, Charlie, maybe he was a Christian, but he was a racist. And both apparently can be true. I ain't seen nobody get kicked out of a pulpit for being racist. And all these black people still going to white churches. They feel like they've upgraded. Because the white churches got what, Child Watch or whatever. They got a little daycare. Because they got a little cafe. You get your coffee. So that's a better place to worship. All right, yo. If that's your preference, I'm not even, it's all good. But if you really think somehow they're closer to Christ than we are, then respectfully, you've been misled. You've drunk the Kool-Aid. You've been bamboozled. You don't know the truth. I suggest you sit down and read a book or two. And I can help you. We can talk about it. Hit me up. I'm down for the smoke. It don't scare me, honestly. Respectfully, of course.